The Philadelphia Eagles will soar in 2022. The Eagles are the breakout team of this NFL season. Just you watch. The Philadelphia Eagles need to be treated as a true NFC contender this year. When you look at the landscape of the NFC, in my opinion, we clearly have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the team to beat. The Los Angeles Rams are coming off a Super Bowl win. They did lose multiple pieces, including Von Miller, OBJ, Andrew Whitworth. Matthew Stafford is dealing with a hint of an injury. The Green Bay Packers no longer have Devontae Adams. The Dallas Cowboys are dealing with their own injuries. To Tyron Smith, they lost Amari Cooper. They lost Randy Gregory. They lost pieces. The 49ers have a young quarterback in Trey Lance. There are a lot of questions about this NFC. There is one team that could take advantage of those questions and soar in 2022. The Philadelphia Eagles. It's not just about the competition. With the Philadelphia Eagles, I truly believe that this is going to be a great team this year. I view them as a true NFC contender. Let's talk about it. Beginning with the coaching. Nick Sirianni is a second-year head coach. Nick Sirianni now has his fingerprints on this football team, on both sides of the ball, how he wants his offense to look, the identity of the football team that he wants to play with. And now this entire coaching staff has a second year with this team. They've gone through a second offseason with this roster, and they can now take off with their plans already in place. They're just building off what they've already done and already achieved, which they were able to make the playoffs last year. Not many people saw that coming. I did not see that coming. I viewed them entering the season as probably a rebuilding team that's just trying out this Jalen Hurts thing. They end up going on a run at the end of the year, beating not many impressive teams, but beating who they should have beaten on their way to the playoffs. And then the Eagles were given a little bit of a reality check by Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But what have the Eagles done since that loss? Howie Roseman realized that this football team, in the landscape of this NFC, can take full advantage. I called the Eagles very early the team of the offseason to watch, and I believe I was correct. They go out and they do business. They trade for A.J. Brown, who, if you guys don't know, is an absolute legit number one alpha target in any offense in this league. He is a top 10 receiver in the NFL for my money, and the Eagles believed it as well because they paid the man. A.J. Brown is going to unlock this offense and take it to the next level because A.J. Brown is one of the few receivers that you can move around from the perimeter to the inside. He could play everywhere and he can do it all. If you want A.J. Brown to just simply beat a guy down the field vertically, he can do it. He's got the speed to do it. If you need A.J. Brown to take a slant 80 yards to the house, he can do it. If you want to give A.J. Brown a handoff, he can do it. If you want A.J. Brown to put a cornerback in the dirt from a run blocking perspective, he can do it. A.J. Brown is a special talent, and if he's given just a hint more of targets than he was in Tennessee, he's going to take full advantage. This is the player, the receiver that when Tannehill needed a play in that offense, he went to A.J. Brown. No matter the consequences, he threw it to him in double coverage, in triple coverage. A.J. Brown was that dude. You combine him with Devontae Smith, who was the number one for this offense a year ago as a rookie and fared pretty well and already has a rapport and a connection with Jalen Hurts, and he's going to feed off of the double teams that A.J. Brown sees. Dallas Goedert's one of the most efficient tight end talents in the league and one of the most underrated talents in the league. What Dallas Goedert can do from a blocking perspective, from a vertical perspective, he's got sneaky speed to get down the field. He's also great with the ball in his hands. He is one of the tight ends in this league that nobody talks about as being an elite talent. And I think he could take that jump post Zach Ertz in this offense full time this year. The offensive line I ranked as the number one offensive line in the league. The running backs, they're not the greatest, but they benefit from Jalen Hurts. They benefit from this scheme, and they benefit heavy from the offensive line. And Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, they're highly efficient. Maybe they're not the best talents in the world, but they're highly efficient. They get the job done. Gainwell, I like his receiving skill set. Miles Sanders, I like his ability to hit the home run. And then you sprinkle in a little bit of Quez Watkins and his speed to be able to get things done in the screen game or down the field, and you have the makings of a very dynamic offense. But as everybody has been saying all offseason, this all comes down to Jalen Hurts and his development. From what I saw in the preseason, the guy looked crisp, the guy looked ready for the moment, and I just believe another season, another offseason, I believe the guy will get better. I've always believed in Jalen Hurts. I think he's always been underrated in terms of his decision making, in terms of his playmaking ability, even in terms of his ability to run the ball. I feel like he's always been a little bit underrated. He can add that dynamic threat as a runner, but he's also willing to make throws down the field. Jalen Hurts is somebody that profiles a lot like a Tyrod Taylor did in his prime. But the difference between a Tyrod Taylor and a Jalen Hurts is that Jalen Hurts is actually willing to make throws. He's actually willing to make plays. He's going to give Devontae Smith a chance to win a one-on-one. And now that he has A.J. Brown, that's just going to be another available option to separate, to get open, to make a not-so-accurate passer an accurate passer by allowing a bigger window to throw to. With Dallas Goedert, with Devontae Smith, with the speed of Quez Watkins, adding Kenneth Gainwell and A.J. Brown with their receiving ability, I mean, this is a passing game that even if Jalen Hurts isn't always pinpoint perfect, it can be effective because the targets will get open. They won't be covered when you're throwing them the ball. And Hurts has proven that even when his man is covered, he will give him a chance to make a play, similar to Nick Foles in that run to the Super Bowl. Everybody is talking about Jalen Hurts and how he's the X factor of this team. I personally think that the X factor of the Eagles really is the defense. The defense for the Philadelphia Eagles is going to make or break whether or not they're simply a good team to being possibly a great team. The Eagles have a lot of talent on defense, and they even added more this offseason. They really got better in areas of weakness. James Bradbury at perimeter corner number 2 to support Darius Slay as their number 1. We knew that Maddox was going to be the nickel corner, but now that we got Bradbury, we don't really have one true weakness at the corner spot. They added Kaiser White, a linebacker that can fly. He can move from the Chargers. They also added Nakobe Dean, who could be a nice complement there at the linebacker position. I recorded this video before the addition of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but I do want to speak on it. I do want to say that this move is a phenomenal one for the Eagles. This guy plays with an edge. He plays with a mentality that can uplift an entire defense. I feel he is a guy that can help this defense in the biggest games, in the biggest matchups. He's competitive. He's feisty. He's a bit dirty, but that helps this defense add versatility to the back end, aids them in terms of possibly their weakest position at safety, and also adds another guy that can play in the nickel. So that's a phenomenal addition, in my opinion. Defensive line, they added another threat of a pass rusher, Hassan Reddick, who's seen back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. You get back Brandon Graham from injury. You add a monster of a run defender in Jordan Davis. And I feel the Eagles are trying to take a similar approach to what the Chargers have done with their team this offseason, which is get a little bit more size and beef up front so that you can play the way you want to play on the back end. The Eagles really emphasize playing kind of soft coverage. They want an offense to dink and dunk their way down a field because that's a way for an offense to make mistakes. In this NFL where you don't want to be overly aggressive because you don't want to give up big plays. You don't want to give up big penalties. When you play a little bit soft and a little bit conservative, it allows your pass rush to do the work, and it allows a team, an offense, to make mistakes on their own without you having to actually force them. And that's the way that the Eagles played last year. I think if they can add a little bit more flair, a little bit more creativity, and a little bit more aggressiveness to that approach with the talent that they have, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett. I mean, this D-line is nuts. with the secondary they now have, which is going to be more competent to play some man coverage, but heavily lean into zone coverage, I think the Eagles can have enough of everything and be so good against the run and so stout in one area, especially up the middle, where they're going to be able to dictate terms to a lot of offenses in this league. Do I still worry about them when it comes to playing too vanilla, too much zone against guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, but there's only so many Tom Bradys and Aaron Rodgers, and you probably do have an advantage against those teams in other areas. So it's not all on the defense to make plays. Overall, the Philadelphia Eagles have had the best offseason, arguably, of any team in this league. They've gone from a borderline playoff team to a team that I feel like is close to a lock to win the NFC East, is close to a lock to making the playoffs, and has the potential to be a very good team this year and a true NFC contender. In one offseason, they have done that. The Eagles, I evaluated as the second best roster in the NFL, only behind Tampa Bay. The Eagles, I evaluated as the number one offensive line in the NFL. If things can go their way, if Jalen Hurts can break out, if the defense can play as well as the talent individually suggests, this team can be special.